more experienced and veteran players, they're really like viewing the whole team, and they feel responsible for like the whole team.
This is Zento from Esports Heaven, and I have here with me Busio from FlyQuest. Unfortunately, a loss to NRG. Talk to me about that game, because there was a fiesta bot lane.
Yeah, that game was definitely like an early game disaster banger.
Yeah.
Like level 1, we were playing the matchup pretty aggressive, and like if we did small tweaks and like I healed the second the Grievous Wounds expires, and then maybe Masu could have spaced a bit further, used his E better. I didn't really rewatch it that much yet, but that's just my initial thoughts. Like then what we're doing level 1, it could be good, but we were playing it pretty aggressive and they just like flash on us. But like even after they flashed on us, it wasn't necessarily that good for them, because like they overcommitted after they got the good chunk and then took a lot of damage on the way out. So it was just like a banger from both sides. And the problem is then I ran back in, died to the next Callista E, and then the wave got frozen, so then we lost so much XP, and then it really turned into an ultra banger. It was just like a scrim game. That's what happens in scrims all the time. Like that's the game you'd remake, or be commonly remade. But yeah, and then after that we're just trying our best to like make plays to come back, and like a lot of them the enemies just lived with 1 HP. Like Ivern lived with 1 HP. When we had that pinch on the Callista mid lane, where she flashed my Q, like I could have just ulted first or something like that. Like that guy should have died. I definitely messed up there. So like just the plays to come back didn't work out. And then they just hit the Baron with their really fast Baron comp, and then we lost. But yeah.
So this seemed like a Season 14-esque game, if I ever saw one, with the bot lane terrain changes. Talk to me about that specifically. How do you feel about the terrain changes as a bot lane duo?
Well, the map is supposed to be more mirrored now. Like blue side bot lane is supposed to be the same as red side bot lane. Obviously there's like slight differences, but both lanes like have a tri-bush and just like open in the river. So bot lane's just more open, so it's like easier to gank. It introduces angles where like if you're way stronger level 1, you can just walk behind them. And there's like a little fun game there where like if the other team's predicting that, they can ward the tri-bush and like hang around, try to like react well. So overall it's more fun. It's honestly just fun because it's like different, so you need to like learn it all. And yeah, it's just more open, so more fights are possible, more aggressive angles. Yeah.
So earlier, I think it was a interview with Travis before the year even started, you were talking about joining FlyQuest, and specifically you were excited about becoming more of a leader in the bot lane. Now, when I saw you in 100 Thieves, I like to say, I guess, your playstyle was like, you were like a butler to to double lift. Yeah. So how has it been, I guess, trying to fill in the leadership role in the bot lane?
Well, like honestly, Masu's like very knowledgeable, so like he doesn't need that much help, and like we have a great coaching staff. But in terms of like our bot lane dynamic, like he's the one that always wants to fight and do really aggressive things, and like I gotta pull him back sometimes, but at the same time I gotta follow him because like he has a good idea about a lot of things. So yeah, it's just that a little bit of leading, but also following, because like Masu's really smart about the game, and yeah.
So with this entire FlyQuest roster, people are saying it's quite a good mix. You have a lot of veteran voices, of course, you know, Whippo, Inspired, Jensen, and then you have some newer voices with you guys in the bot lane. But I talked specifically to Cody Sun way back in the day. I don't know if you know the ADC.
Yeah.
Okay, so I talked with Cody Sun. I want to say this was like in 2020, and we had a conversation about being able to criticize veterans. And he said it was quite difficult because it's very hard to broach that conversation if you are a younger player. How do you view that? How do you view your position, I guess, in terms of criticizing even legendary players like a Jensen or a Double Lift or, you know, Whippo? Like, how do you run that through your head, I guess, as a teammate?
Yeah. I mean, it's not like they're like scary to criticize or anything, because like they're very open to criticism. They admit their own mistakes all the time, so that's not really any barrier. But just like in general, because like I'm a newer player, I'm more likely to like assume that I made the mistake and like rewatch it and be like really like focused on myself. While I feel like more experienced and veteran players, they're really like viewing the whole team and they feel responsible for like the whole team. While like as a newer player, I feel more responsible for like my own play and making sure that I'm really improving with every single game. But yeah, definitely if I'm watching something, I'll like, yo, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? It's very it's still like normal, but I guess it's less natural, so I can get what Cody's son's saying. Yeah, for sure. Especially like in my first year on 100 Thieves, I would like, yeah, it was a bit harder to criticize veterans, I guess, because I was just like super new and really, really focused on myself. So I guess, yeah.
Sure. So I've talked with this to a couple other supports about mechanics as a support. I feel like there aren't really a whole lot of champions that you can express yourself as a support player. You know, like I'm a Nautilus one trick, so like it's one of the easiest champions in the game, right? You just have a point and click ult. Yeah. But really, there's only like Thresh that I can think of that is a highly mechanically intensive support. Maybe Rakan even. How do you feel as a support in terms of like, do you think mechanics are important as a support? And I give the caveat that I watched a video of Bwipo. It was like some stream, and he was saying, I'm really excited to play with Busio because he has good mechanics.
Oh, okay.
And I had also talked to Stunt, and I asked, you know, are mechanics important as a support? And who do you think is good mechanically as a support? And he also said Busio.
Okay.
So, first of all, what is it about you, I guess, that, how do you have mechanics? How do you even show your mechanics?
Well, how do I have mechanics? I don't know. Like, I was a mid laner
Oh, okay. Yeah.
previously, but I don't know if that has that much to do with it, because like my mechanics have only gotten better since I've been role swapped to support and playing pro, but I guess that's because I've been playing more. So I don't really know why.
So wait, you were a mid laner in solo queue?
Yeah, in solo queue, and I played a year of amateur as a mid laner, or maybe a split, and then I role swapped. So yeah, but what you're talking about, like Nautilus not showing mechanics, I feel like honestly every support champ shows mechanics. It's like not very apparent or like flashy, but like when you're playing against a support that has good mechanics, you can definitely tell. Like I'll give you an example, like Lulu. Let's say you're playing Xin Zhao and you're like autoing the mid wave twice, and you have your Q charged up, and you want to flashy their ADC. A good mechanical Lulu can R that ADC in time and cancel you, and you won't get the CC off. And that's like very, very meaningful. It's like a small thing, but that makes a huge difference. And it can be mechanically hard. And also mechanics can also be like how much information you can like take in a fight at once. So it's not necessarily like landing every skill shot and dodging every skill shot, but of course that matters. Like I think all supports really can use mechanics. Like there's not many that I don't think don't. Like maybe Melio. Melio's pretty low mechanics, but then again, you still have mechanical aspects like canceling dashes with your Q, ulting in time, even just like early lane and just like how you pilot a range champ and like auto attack your spacing, how you can like flick out of the bush, auto run back in the bush and they can't hit you back. Just like everything has mechanics. There's there's expression in everything, I'd say.
Okay, that's interesting. So finally, I want to get your opinions on the support race in LCS. So everyone says basically that it's kind of like a fight between Huhi and Core JJ at the very top. And many people are also saying that probably be Huhi actually as the best support in North America, but it's Core JJ that's, you know, he still has that name value. How do you view these two veterans in the LCS as far as support players, and maybe what you take from them as far as like their play style and whatnot?
Yeah, I mean, they're both really good, really experienced. What do I take from them? I mean, I guess they're just pretty good like baseline for what they do. Like you can just look at and learn. But yeah, it's just like they play pretty well, pretty standard, especially like Core. Core's like, especially like last year, I thought he was a really good laner. So like I learned a lot from that, yeah.
Yeah. How do you even, I guess, look at a support and copy their game? Because when I think of the support role, it's more kind of nebulous and it's more like about the entire game versus just, lane mechanics or, this matchup versus that matchup. How do you even like VOD review another support? Like I've never got that concept.
Yeah, I mean, from like a viewer's perspective, like a lot of the important things a support does, like, aren't that apparent, as you said. Like for example, like how a support manages their wards before an objective. Like, are they going to drop other wards now and then base for more, or are they going to drop like one, make you sweep that one ward, and then drop the 2 wards when you're out of sweepers? Just like small things like that is like something I can learn. I'm like, oh, in this situation, especially like yesterday versus Core, like in a lot of situations, he's like holding all his wards, and that's just like something I noticed. I don't necessarily think it's just going to be dependent on the situation, if it's good or bad, but it's just like, oh, interesting, here he held wards, that meant I had to base for more wards, and then he still had wards, but then when I came back, I had fresh wards, but he only had like 1 left. So it's like, just like I can see what the enemy support is doing and just wonder like when it's good, when it's bad.
It's a lot of mind games.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Well, I thank you for your time, and I wish you the best of luck next week. This has been Azento from Esports Heaven and Busio from FlyQuest.
Thank you.